everybody. We have a game on our speed run with the black pieces against Nawir, rated 1283. We're going to try to get a Pirc set up on the board and see how 1300 lead chess reacts. So he develops 3 minor pieces and puts a pawn in the center, so he's off to a good start generally speaking. Castles, can't complain. Weak castle, so he's very solid and well developed. Let's see how he proceeds. Now he moves the same piece twice, attacks a square that's defended. We get to throw in the free improving move h6, kicking his knight back. And now we get to go again. So we have the same position, but we got an h6 and it's our turn. So it's like 2 free turns or something. It's insane. Not good for him. So there's lots of different ways to play, as I always say. Let's just bring out our knight towards the center. Although you could have made various pawn moves there. e5, c5, c6. Okay, so he now puts 2 pawns in the center. But now this d4 pawn is the target, since I put my knight here. So when I develop my bishop, I'm threatening to win the pawn or win the structure. So in order to stop that, he tries to push past so it's not hanging. You know, because if I take his knight and he has to move his queen, I get the pawn. But if I take the knight now, it hits the queen. So so that would lure his queen here. But then we can move our knight to, let's say, e5, picking up the bishop. Seems reasonable. We could also go to e5 first, but then the bishop can retreat and defend, right? So let's take the knight, lure the queen, unless he ruins his structure, which I doubt he will. And then let's get this move in, because our knight was under attack anyway, and this is a good move anyway. So instead of defending the bishop, he just moves the queen. And this is what I mean when I say if you just have your eyes open, my opponent offers a draw. You're going to have to learn the hard way, Nawir. You're going to have to learn the hard way today. Gonna have to learn the hard way, and I will sit here for 9 minutes until your clock runs out. Okay, buddy? There you go. No draw here. He hits my knight. We can go back here, which allows f4 with tempo. So instead, I'm going to go here, because in both cases, we'll probably end up back on d7. But at least if he plays f4 here, I'm not forced to make that move. I can choose to make a different move. That's the difference. So he fianchettos. And now I'm going to play e5 for that ultimate stability in the center. So he en passants. But I recapture, maintaining 2 pawns on central files with open rook. So he makes random pawn moves. I don't care about harassing my knight because this only helps me, encourages me to improve it to a better square. At his cost, on his dime. Okay. We could still control the center. It weakens the light squares, however. f4 should be coming one way or another. My light squares are a bit loose. I want to bring my knight back, but I want him to waste a turn kicking me. Queen e7 is useful. e5. I don't want to play e5. d5. Then he can kick my knight. I can kick his knight. He gets a knight, I get a knight. He gets a pawn. I get a pawn. It's all playable. I'm up a piece, so I guess I should encourage trades. So in light of that, let's break in the center on the light squares. Okay, he doesn't intermezzo the knight counter. So now I could just reroute it here, or I can fix my pawn and connect it. Let's take with the knight. That way it can't get kicked next turn. And he captures. So he's doing the work for us with all the trades. We can fix our structure, or we can offer the queen trade. If we offer the queen trade, he should decline, but okay, let's say he goes here. Then my queen's kind of in the way of the rook, so let's just fix our structure. Okay, he moves the bishop, which opens our bishop on his rook and his on ours. But now we get a little protection of the light squares, no matter which direction we go to. I don't see a reason to stay on the F file necessarily, so let's go to the E file. I do see a reason to put it on the 7th, but you could do that from here. So now he's trying to, I don't know, encourage more trades, which is still good for us. It will always be good for us. And let's get some light square, I don't know, random move, king safety. Let's put it in the corner, away from this diagonal. He trades, but trades are just good for us. We connect the rooks. We have a perfect position, up a piece, no weaknesses. He targets the king as well as the c-pawn. The king is more than secure. We can just solidify the c-pawn on the semi-open file where he can add pressure with the rooks. Now he gets his rook to the open file with tempo, which makes a lot of sense because it hits our queen. But we can just move our queen. What's a good effective square? I think this one, offering the queen trade. And then that way, if he doesn't want to, which he shouldn't because he's down a piece, then he'll have to waste his whole turn moving his queen, and we get to go again, which diminishes the effect of him gaining a tempo with the rook. So he moves the queen, but now we can trade it for 2 rooks if we want it. I mean, if he goes for it. So let's do that. We get to develop and offer more trades. Our rooks clearly belong here. Our bishop belongs here. Now he's going into the diagonal, but if we move the knight, he's threatening checkmate unless we go knight e8 or h5, defending the bishop, winning material. But do we have better? Do we have checkmates? He has a weak back rank. I do get the trade I want. And then if I can deflect his queen, I have a checkmate. So all this looks natural. That's what a new player would do, and they would get... Why do I think this is checkmate? This isn't checkmate. For some reason, I still thought his bishop was here, but he moved it. Oh god, my eyes are not open. My eyes are not open. I need to shut my brain and open my eyes. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Because my brain's fried, I'm just going to go for a simple trade. And then I'm just going to harass the queen, shut down the rook file, and hopefully, because this is not checkmate, don't know why I thought it was, I'm looking for the puzzle rush. You know, the first 5 puzzle rushes are all the same thing. They're all just go to the back rank. So he covers the back rank still. But we'll attack that square a 3rd time and kick the queen off the diagonal, winning the game. I mean, it was one when you were up a piece, but now this is really the nail in the coffin, the beautiful synergy between the pieces. And you can see how important it is. Like this double stack threatening the mate, the bishop coordinating, the knight defends the bishop, the earlier move c3 important to defend the knight against his double stack. So all of these 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are synergizing. The b pawn protects the c pawn. So okay, so he counterattacks our queen, which, I mean, it's a try. We can win a pawn in this situation by takes, check, and takes. Also, this, that doesn't work. We can try to get queen trade on our terms and not win a pawn. He'll take. I mean, let's just win the pawn. We give this check so that our bishop's not hanging. And then we take the free pawn. We got in more trades and we won material, so I can't complain. And this bishop is misplaced. It would definitely be better. I mean, it's still shooting at nothing, but it would have been better this whole time on this diagonal. He moved it off to make a one-move threat on a rook, but it was never good. Now he hangs an entire rook for free because he's mentally broken down or something. Worse than me. Now he goes to the fianchetto square, but way too late because, I mean, this move 31. This needed to be here the entire game. So, are there any mating nets? If I can control this square, how do I do that with my knight? This guy's blocking me. All of a sudden, he's blocking my reroute. But that's just if I need a checkmate. Let's just make a random move. Maybe we can control it with the pawn and then checkmate him. Okay, so he ruins that mating net. We'll go check. He'll go here. Okay, he doesn't go there. Instead, he hangs a bishop, which we like. Now he's just moving back and forth for some reason. This. Okay, let's, I don't know, maybe try to close the box. Okay, now we can maybe go here. There has to be a mate now. So this check here. Hold on. Wait a second. Wait, so rook here. Now what's the construction? Rook here, knight here. Rook here. So let's start with that. And knight here, which takes 2 moves. But we need to defend the rook first, so let's go either here or here. Oh wait, but his king's not going to be in check because the move order is... Either way, a knight on f6 is always mate because you have this one. Which one's this called? Arabian mate, maybe? I just tried to move this from here to here in one move. Oh man. Time for sleep. Check and mate in 2. And this guy just wasted his life for no reason. Okay. Let's go through the game. We play the starting moves of the Pirc, so there's nothing to go over there. And the good thing is it takes up, like you already know, let's say 3 moves of theory, right? If you know, or 4 moves, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's say you want to know lines in the Pirc 10 moves deep. You're like, oh, 10 moves is a lot. But you already know the first 4, so you really only need to memorize 6. And even then, you may know more than the first 4. You may know like, oh, I go c6 or I castle. Like you may know a little bit more. So if you want to know to move 10, maybe you only need to memorize 4 moves deep on 2 or 3 different lines. So it's not as much as you may think. In any case, we have a couple inaccuracies, but otherwise just all zeros. 16 cent a pawn, 96. So solid game from the Pirc, which is not easy. I used to have a lot of trouble with this opening because it's not easy to play from black. Okay, so we castle, we're ready to go. He moves his knight for no reason, and we get a free improving move. Black's already better. And now, I didn't pay attention that, of course, we have the center fork trick here. We can take, he recaptures and play d5, equalizing the game. I mean, we're already better, so it's not even equalizing in this case, but equalizing the central space advantage that white has because he has a pawn in the center and we don't. So we're equalizing that facet of the game. Um, but I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't paying attention. I just developed. And so that's why this is inaccurate, totally playable, but for maximum advantage, you can take a central pawn, might as well. Now he goes here, development and center for free, because this threatens to ruin his structure. And now, I mentioned you can go knight in here first, or you can take the knight. We take the knight first. The computer's actually recommending him to mess up his pawn structure, and it's saying this is the best. Probably because now when I jump my knight here, and he goes bishop back, I mean, it still looks fine. I don't really see the problem. Even knight d7, he has this weird structure. He's going to move his king, maybe attack me here, but I'm not sure I buy this. Let me see. I kind of want to look at this line. So I take the knight, and he took back with the queen, which they're saying is good for me. They're saying it's good for him if he takes back. We jump in the center and hit the bishop. Bishop retreats, unassailable. We go back to d7. What's white do here? f4, trying to steamroll through the center. Makes sense. But he's not prepared for this, so we look more than fine. I would improve for free, although maybe not, because then he can push, because you remove a defender. Takes. Yeah, maybe not yet. Even though the engine says it's best, I kind of don't like undefending this. I'm thinking c6, takes. I like c6, he takes, we take. I mean, they're saying this is even. And I can see that because white's pretty solid. And I guess I can't really exploit these weaknesses. But it's not like you're ever worried here as black. It's just interesting. And if we throw this in first and he retreats, now we can take the knight with the knight instead of the bishop, getting rid of that cramped minor piece. When he takes back, then we can trade. So in this version, which they're saying is slightly more accurate for black, I ended up trading even pieces. In the other line, I traded my light square bishop for his knight. He still had his light square bishop. Even though his pawn structure was ruined, that extra f pawn gave him extra possibilities to attack my center. And he had his bishop. So they're saying, I mean, this is definitely just visually very clean and easy to play with c6 and not that many minor pieces on the board. Total equality. But my move is the same, so it's whatever. We jump our knight in here because as a human, only an extremely, not extremely, but a high rated player would take with the g-pawn, who understands everything that we just looked at, or who already knows this ahead of time because they watched a video or something that explained it. Okay, so anyway, improving move for free, black's a little better. And then we take a free piece, obviously winning. Force move. Oh, more free stuff that I missed. Because if you take this pawn and he takes back, his bishop's hanging. But I made a very quick, because I'm up a piece, so I was just making quick moves. And e5, which is, you know, one of the top engine moves. Just looked like such an obvious way to win the game and close down the position, so I did it. He en passant, force move for us. And again, that pawn is still hanging, but I break in the center because I missed it again. He takes, so force move. It's -4, you're just crushing. Trades are good for us. You can take any way you want. He hits our rook, so force move. And it's funny that when I played the move, it said that it became the best, king h7. You know, I played king h7, but the fact that the engine has it as the top, well, now it's second, but at 4.4, d takes c. At 4.3, king h7. It's just so interesting how the computer lists it. because it's so unnecessary. You don't have to do it at all. And there definitely are other moves you can make, like c3 makes a lot of sense, right? I mean c6. But I made this move just to get my king in complete safety, and the engine really likes it, which is interesting. Okay, so he takes, force move. And now he's threatening my pawn, so let's say force move. He's hitting my queen, so let's say force move. And improving for free. I'm just threatening way too much stuff. My position's beautiful. And I don't know why I thought his bishop was here and that if I move my knight it would be checkmate. So I was looking at knight h5 just to win material, but it's not checkmate, so you can move your knight wherever you want. So then I just traded to get a pair of pieces off the board, hopped in the center for free, improved another piece for free, threatening checkmate ideas, and then here you can do whatever you want. I chose to just win the free pawn with the liquidation option, and then he hangs a rook. Minus 11 with 96% accuracy. We don't need to go over anything else or the rest of the game. Hopefully you guys can win this. Good luck in your chess. See you in the next video.